welcome, Councillor, to a new venue. It's quite nice meeting supervisors for a change, I find.
I like it a lot, meeting.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really good.
I'm not.
I live 20 feet, 25 feet, 25 yards.
We were kind of half expecting some members of the public, if they turn up, we give them an opportunity to speak if they do. Okay, so let's move on from the open session to the recording of the meeting. Does anybody wish to make a recording in addition to the one you've got? Thank you. Okay. Apologies for absence. So we are, I think, number 3 now. Is that right? Councillors Firth, Brooke, and Fenwick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Circulated earlier this evening.
Right. And so we are approving the reasons for absence, not the absence itself. On favour. Thank you. We're just barely coordinate, aren't we? Really? But we are coordinate. Right. Okay. Are there any? Do any members wish to declare an interest?
Yes.
Okay.
In relation to one planning application, 24250413, Car House on Hightown Lane. It's a person I know.
I've got 3. Just 2501. Consulted for friend of mine.
Lovely. Councillor Ramsey, sorry, I missed which number you said.
Sorry?
I missed which number.
Oh, number 13.
Number 30, thank you.
Anything else to declare? So, do any members think we should consider any of the items in private session? No? Okay. Let's place the agenda quickly disposed of. Right. Can we move on to the minutes of the previous meeting?
We missed item 54.
Yeah, any written request for DPR?
None received.
No? Okay, thank you. Okay, the minutes of the previous meeting. Somebody wish to move that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Yes. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Are there any matters arising which are not on the
Nothing that's not
on the substantive agenda? Item 67, completed Kirklees planning applications list. Can we note the list, please? Noted. Right. So moving on to new planning applications. Before we do, there's just something I wanted to say. I think we all spend a lot of time on planning applications, and so do the Cardinal team. And I think it's probably time for a thorough review of the way we handle planning applications. I suggest that we put that as an agenda item on for the next meeting. See if there's a different way we can still do what we're meant to do, but perhaps streamline the process as well. Right, let's move on to the list of first one, the Waldale Community Centre. Who wishes to talk about this? Steve?
I think it's probably the worst planning application I've ever seen. The information supplied in it is pretty much nil. Aside from us knowing they want to put on some solar panels. but to try and actually decipher exactly where everything is going is
Yeah.
fairly difficult. And I find that strange because any contractor that does solar panels, you can go get a free quote and they will give you chapter and verse for nothing.
Oh, right.
And I mean, I've done it for Cartmore Cricket Club, and we had approximate costings of it, but then plans with where they will be on the roof and how it's going to be wired up and everything else, and it cost us absolutely nothing.
Having said that, it's only a certificate of lawfulness.
It is.
So they're really only saying,
And we don't usually give those, we usually refer those to officers, so it might as well.
effectively, they're saying it's permitted development.
I mean, I noticed that the roof drawing was from 09, you know, the date of the roof drawing is from 09. I mean, my feeling with this one is to refer it to Kirklees officers. Are people happy with that?
I
decision?
mean,
That-
I
it seems-
support it in principle.
Yes,
because
yes,
It's a
yeah.
good thing to
Well,
be doing.
maybe we can just append a statement to say that
Yeah,
we
fine,
are
that's
in
all.
favour, we support solar panels in general, but there's not enough information in this application for us to make an informed decision. Okay, so let's move on to, well, there's lots of certificate of lawfulness in this batch, won't there? So let's move on to
I'm not very upset.
Number
Yes.
2 is also,
Should we do Andy's three
Two
together?
through there if you want to.
Should we do Andy's three together so they don't have to get up and get down? Was there three of them?
Yes.
What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
number 2, number 5 and number 11.
Yeah.
well, 2 and 11 are the same one.
They
2
are.
is the
Yes,
certificate of lawfulness and 11 is the application.
Okay, so, right. Who looked at this?
I said support.
Support.
I mean, we can't support, we don't do certificate of law, we always refer certificate of lawfulness, but I said there is support. As far as I could fathom out the plans, which I found quite difficult, I think it's a support.
Did anybody else look apart from that?
How do we have the same then? Certificate of lawfulness, and then there's a plan application.
They don't know why they're separated in distance, so
Is it
yes,
weird?
numbers 2, numbers 11, yeah. There were no not sure the sizes, there were no measurements, I mean, my feeling was to defer it to Kirklees officers.
If Pat's happy with it, you know, if I want to propose it,
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Thought it looked
Yeah,
all
that's-
right. I mean, if it's not right,
Yeah.
the officers will
Of
spot
course they
that,
will,
won't they?
Yeah.
yeah.
So is that support?
I think that's support.
Yeah.
Should
On
we
both
happy
of
to
those?
support on both of those? Support.
And then which one is the other one, Andy?
Number
Carter?
5.
I had support with a question mark for that one, because again, I struggled. The neighbour objections seemed to be about a path, and then it seemed to refer back to other things. I was up in that area, and that land is perfectly appropriate for putting houses on. It's surrounded by houses, and you know, and if I couldn't fathom the neighbour objections, to be brutally honest. There were 2 or 3. Somebody said it would cut out the light in their garden. Well, I don't think you can object on those grounds.
You can do.
But you can.
This is the right to light.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wasn't. It seemed to me a sort of support if I fully understood it, but I don't know whether I fully understood it.
I mean, there was argument wasn't about section 106 on this one. I think my feeling was to refer it to Kirklees. It seemed quite technical.
But I mean, I'm in favour of houses being built on that bit of dead land, but I couldn't fathom.
Okay. Can we say that then? Should we say that we are defer the decision to Kirklees officers, but we are in favour of the development of the land for housing?
Yeah.
People happy with that? All those in favour? Thank you.
Yeah, Andy back in.
I'll get him back. You see?
Which number's yours, Steve? That one
Well,
that
should we
you?
do yours, Martin?
Oh, number 13 was it? Car Lane,
Yeah.
Car House, yes. Andy, you want to go back? And I'll sit out this one. I'm in.
Which one are we on now?
We're on 13 now, Steve's been sent
There's a lot of
Substitution.
certificate of lawfulness in this batch.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Did you? No, I didn't hear.
I did,
Didn't
yeah.
you catch it and put them up carefully?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so this one is it's mine, isn't it, my area? I just thought that this, I want to support this, it's just regularising a situation that already exists, I can't see any point in doing anything other than that. It's not going to have any impact on the conservation area, so. Are people happy to support that? Support? Those in favour?
Steve?
Can we get Steve back in?
Yes.
That'll be my name.
Yeah.
So I think, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're now on number 3, aren't we? Back to number 3, which is 3 Mullion Avenue, Bonley. So, well, they've called it, it was formerly a garage and now into a store.
I put support. I mean, the drawing made it look as though what they described as a store, formerly a garage, was a garage to me. It had garage doors and everything. Now, if it was a garage, as opposed to a store, they're reducing the amount of parking by converting it. It all depends whether you
Yes.
believe
Yeah.
that it
Well,
was a
yes,
store. I mean, they may well have been using it as a store. As far as I can tell, nobody but me has ever used the garage to put a car in. But,
And it is taking exception to that statement.
I don't know whether, I think it's a garage, and I think they know that they're reducing the parking, and that's why they're calling it a store. And they're probably using it as a store. I'm not suggesting they're lying about how they use it.
I think there's sufficient parking anyway.
They say no change to parking, don't they?
Well, one of the neighbours thought there was going to be less parking. There was an objection from a neighbour. But oh no, that was another one.
No, I don't think it's this one.
That was
Okay.
another one.
No. So
Anyway.
are we inclined to support this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Support? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Number 4. Just Little House Hill on Firth. So this is one of these garden gravel things that we want to build a detached house, a self-built retirement home. It doesn't say the number of bedrooms. It is an outline application at the moment.
I actually,
Yeah, we want approval of access and siting, so.
I went up to have a look at it
Right.
and I spoke to the owners of the house that it sits in, and they are going to downsize and move into the house that they wish to build. And so they, I don't see a problem with it actually. It'll just be a small 2-bedroom house for their needs, and they will then sell the house that the land currently sits is owned by.
Need small houses, don't we? So,
Yeah, but we need smaller
need
houses.
small houses, yes. Okay, all those in favour, we support that one. Trees was already done. And
It's
number
on
six,
mine.
Violet Meadows. Okay.
I thought it's fairly remarkable. The materials match existing, so I've got support.
I've got no problem with this one.
I thought it was fine too. So, you gave support on this very unproblematic ones. And then the old, number 7, the old chapel at St Mary's Road in Longthorn. Solar panels listed, this is another listed building on site. In the conservation area as well. I thought it was quite interesting, the panels are flush with the roof, aren't they? Obviously the panels are not cut into the roof and preserve the steel slates.
I don't see a problem with
No,
that.
no, I've seen some old buildings that have similar to it. It's all right. Yeah, it blends in, it blends
And it's
in.
on the back.
On the back,
It's on the back.
yeah, no, not really a complaint. Unless there's some reflex and it is washing up.
Yes, unless your kitchen's exactly opposite.
Yeah.
So you're blind. Mind you, this year that's not going to happen.
No.
There's a belt of trees across the valley from it, so it's not actually overlooked.
Okay, support?
Yeah.
Support. Unanimous. Right. Number 8, 2 Stanley Bank Lane, Thorns Bridge. Page Terrace, new garden extension, and it's changing 4-bed to 5-bed, Tom.
Yeah, we're looking at, it's a rear extension and then they're looking to use the field around the back as well as a garden. I think it looks okay subject to the looking. I don't know say about the rear extensions, you don't want looking at someone's garden here, but most of them probably do already at the moment. But it's, yeah, subject to the looking, I think it's okay.
I've just got a question mark about parking.
Mm.
Not very clear about how much parking there is. And this is going to be a 5-bed house.
It is, yes.
It's going from one.
They've got a garage in front of one of the downstairs windows, which I presume is theirs, not the house adjoining it.
I just thought it was a bit unclear. I couldn't
And then
categorically say. how many
There's forecourt parking, so they can probably get 3 cars on it, which for 5 beds is presumably is adequate.
Well,
It's a bit awkward though, because we're asked to come on 2 things really, aren't we? There's the use of the field as a garden, and then there's the extension separate.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling on the garden is if they're going to approve it, that there should be restrictions as to what they can do. Because I'm not sure, is it Greenbelt now? I can't remember.
I don't think so. I think
No, I don't
No.
think, no, I don't think it is, yeah.
Can they make it so that it's only ever for
They
garden?
did it, they've done it in Hayd Edge some years ago, where someone wanted to extend into the field and they granted consent, but severe restrictions, no garden sheds, no this, that and the other.
No greenhouse.
I assume what they're doing is building up to the border, so.
It's not, it's one of these
Well,
houses
field
that's
as a
got a
garden.
very shallow back garden,
Yeah.
so they sort of want to knock it through into the
And the
field.
new garden goes behind the, not the
Yeah.
sponsors behind the terrace. Yeah. So are we kind of moving towards support?
I think so.
Supporting
Yeah.
this. Do we want to make a statement about the garden? Steve, yeah? Is that just
Because the garden will be overlooking, I think it's 3 other gardens, I could see in certain circumstances there might be conflict.
So do we just, it's been quite vague, like consider conditions on the,
Yeah, I think.
yeah, consider conditions on the, development of the garden.
surprised the field, the adjacent field isn't next to ours garden, or it's a bit further out, isn't it, than that, it's more down the maps.
I think it all depends how well you get.
It's a bit weird because I think they must do because it looks to be the field is at the back and it's at the back of the house next door, so it's not. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
If you get on well with your neighbours, it's fine,
think so. Maybe, yeah, conditions that it's not developed. No.
Conditions on development as well. Okay, let's move on to 9 and 10, which are linked, which is Goldfield Road Farm, which I've heard come up several times.
Well, I
Which is a
put it
conservation
looks
area.
okay, but we don't usually approve listed building stuff, we usually refer it to offices.
Yeah.
So are we going to defer to Casey
Yeah.
Harris?
So I'd like to take issue with the CCS.
Okay, that talks to
Very
me, yeah.
when they're building, how many, 4 dwellings, a 4-bed plus, there's absolutely nothing in there.
Well, let's comment on that then, because
On what?
Climate change.
that one
yeah.
with the climate.
Oh,
Yeah.
members of the public are just coming in now.
Oh, so wait, is the door? I'm going for the door.
Who's the engineer?
Yeah.
Not engineer.
Okay. There we go.
No,
Morning.
thank you.
Want to come have a seat down? This is the public gallery. Unfortunately, we missed the public session. It's at the discretion of the chair as to.
Oh, have we?
Yes, it's at 7.
Oh, I thought it was 7:30.
Could you sign in?
Yeah.
But we haven't reached the item on the agenda yet.
All right. Well, sign
So
that.
it will be at the discretion of the chair.
Okie dokie. Okay.
Okay.
And so I think when the time comes, we'll give you a chance to do your 3 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, yeah. So Hinchcliffe minutes. Yeah. Fine. Okay, we'll just in fact we'll just finish this particular.
That's
And then we'll move on.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on items, now to defer to Casey Heritage, but we were going to put a statement deploring the lack of a
Climate change.
the climate change statement. I was trying to think of a good adjective to describe it, adequate really, well even adequate, or perhaps just even the lack of one anyway, yeah. Are members happy if we kind of suspend standing orders at this point and
Yeah.
move to the item on the agenda, which is item 70, number 4.
Design code.
Yeah.
Item 74, the design code.
No, item 70, number 4. Development at Hinchcliffe Mill. Item 70,
70.
number 4, all right.
Ah,
Okay, have we got
I'm
it?
with you.
Right, good.
I'm with you.
We need to approve,
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, so we need to, given that this is not the open session has been gone,
Okay.
we need to seek the approval of to suspend standing orders so that members of the public can address the meeting.
Okay.
All those in favour of doing that, that's fine.
Thank you.
Right. There's been an email exchange between you and I think the clerk, wasn't it? The
It
clerk
was,
of the
yeah.
council, yeah.
Yeah,
And you're here to talk about the Hinchcliffe Mill and what's happened there. So you've got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, the Hinchcliffe Mill site, originally I put in we both put in an objection on grounds of wildlife habitat, and that it established itself quite a lot over those 10 or so years. And then we went for a walk along the river, and suddenly it had all gone overnight. That's what it looked like, and we've been away, so I didn't know when it happened, but I found out that it happened during the nesting, during the breeding season, and I looked at the documents, and partly Parish Council has had some say in this, and I've put in that I do understand it, that you've got a climate change statement that you've made at some point. Yeah, I thought you had.
Yes.
And that you would, so I copied it into Parish Council, but I wrote to the planning officer, and then the exchange I got back eventually was that the planning application is still in process, it's not actually been finalised, and the fact that the developers have moved in and cleared it beforehand meant that the planning couldn't come back on them about it. So it seems like they can do what they like basically, yet the planning has been approved on ground of the biodiversity and the ecological value of the site is all part and parcel of the decision that they made that it was going to be passed. If you go in and clear a site like that, that will have been could well have had at least 250 different birds nesting on it, apart from anything else. It would, in the breeding season, you lose all those, and there's no comeback. It's too late. You've lost them. You've lost all the birds. You've lost all the insects. You've lost the whole ecology overnight. Not just what was there, but the next generation. So that it has been cleared in a way that has just caused a huge amount of damage to the ecology of the site, despite the fact that it's been the biodiversity and the biodiversity net gain that the developers are supposed to abide by has all been, it's meaningless if they're allowed to go in, or if they go in and clear it before it's even started. They've done a huge amount of destruction before it's even started. You know, from my point of view, I would say that just shows that when they actually do the building work, they're not going to pay a lot of attention to biodiversity. And I just want to, I don't know how long that was. Have you got?
I've got more to add to that. I don't know. Do I get 3 minutes? Presumably.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm an environmental scientist, and I've had a lot to do with planning over the years. The baseline for a biodiversity net gain is set back, and actually there are penalties for destroying a site before you're granted planning permission. So you know it's a fairly major legal issue as far as planning is concerned, which they seem to be finding ways to sidestep. For a start, it's a conservation area, which means that all the trees above, I believe, 75 millimetres diameter, so just 3-inch diameter trees, they're all protected. So even if they preempted the planning decision, they've already contravened, if you like, the conservation area protection for all of the trees to be subject to tree preservation order. As far as the ecology is concerned, as an environmentalist scientist, I would estimate that there were about 2,000 saplings on that site. So from those 2,000 saplings, I estimate that there might have been 100 birds nesting potentially, let alone voles and shrews and other protected animal species like that. From a policy point of view, I mean, here's Kirklees Council, Parish Council, you know, under the umbrella of Kirklees Council leading the national tree policy through White Rose Forest and Northern Forest. White Rose Forest having a sapling nursery in Leeds, so that development sites with, say, 2,000 saplings, all of those saplings could have been salvaged to the sapling nursery site in Leeds for replanting, 2,000 saplings, say, as as a professional estimate, if you like, with a value of £10 each, say. So that's £20,000 worth of trees. It's really incumbent, I would say, on planning to act on it, not simply to sidestep it and find reasons why not to act. There are multiple levels of.
Probably approaching 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I've finished it. So I would urge the parish council to pursue this with Kirklees planning.
And I'm sure you're aware that this is a Kirklees council matter and not a parish council matter. Now, our powers, well, I'm sure they are powers really. I mean, our area of action really is pretty limited here. So,
But you did put some. There was, the parish council did have a say in the planning.
We've objected 4 times.
Yeah, and you did say
We've
about.
objected 4 times to this.
Yeah.
You've got more influence than we have. You
We're not
represent.
quite sure
You can
about
see
it.
how much we have.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andy.
I might be able to shed a bit of light on, I think anyway, what's been going on. My understanding, this is only my understanding, is that this has been held up for the S106 agreement, which is not uncommon, as we know. I think the developer, and again it's only hearsay, the developer's wanting to sell it on, and to do so, he wanted to clear the land to make it look as though it was ready for development. So I believe that's why it's come about. Now, got to take your points about whether they should have done or not. I think perhaps the only thing we could do is write to Kirklees planning, isn't it, and say,
It's the timing of it, I accept that it's it had been passed, but it's the timing of it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, our powers
Yeah.
are extremely limited, and all really we can offer is, as Andy's just said, is that we can contact Kirklees planning and explain that we are happy about this process. Anybody else any of the councillors wish to speak about this?
No, I think it's frustrating, and they should have waited a year, which obviously they
Yes.
wouldn't want to.
So,
We'll pursue
Okay.
it further anyway,
so the committee,
and we hope you will.
so committee members, are we agreed that we should take this issue up with Kirklees?
I think we are
Just
easy
and
bound.
make sure they're aware that these people have moved in having been told not, a contravened condition.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. Well,
Okay,
all
thank
those
you.
in favour, we do that, we take the issue.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Dealing with unspeakable rules.
Steve, can you do the door again?
Yes, sir.
We can't get out. If Steve leaves now, we're in here for life.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Do you have anybody that wants to draft that around issues together?
Is anybody wanting to draft a statement on this? There you go, then,
I'll send something to you, then you can.
It's better, it's a relatively straightforward issue. Okay, so we'll move back to the planning applications. Did they think it was 7:30, is that? Yeah. Easy mistake to make. Number 11 we have already agreed to support, so moving on to number 12, which is Bellevue Barn. Tom?
Yeah, I've had a look at this one. It's there's not much to it in the plans, and a few pictures of some fields which have got some grass cut on. So it's a building that was originally built for horses, like a barn. It's never been used for horses, and they're parking the cows in it or something like that. And then they're wanting to use, and they cut the grass, so they use the land for residential use. It's a bit weird, there's not really much plans about it, and I don't really know what to think. There's not much, it's probably alright. I don't think, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm pretty sure that Kirklees aren't getting any planning applications for it at the moment, so they're pushing for all this typical law for them and stuff.
You just wonder whether in a year's time it'll come up as a two-bedroom house.
Convert the barn.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not being used for horses at the moment, and they're keeping cars in it,
Yeah,
it's a bit of a weird one.
I think.
I don't really much of an opinion about it, to be honest.
I think what they're arguing is it's been,
I was just gonna say, you go back after this one.
it's been over 4 years, so what they're arguing is you can't do anything about it anyway.
I just refer it to Kirklees, I think.
The technical argument in the.
Yeah, refer it to Kirklees, I don't really have an opinion about it, I'm not really.
I mean, I think, you know, it's very similar to what we've already had. I think it's regularising the situation that's already exists, isn't it? And it's surprising with those pictures of the kids on them. I wondered what they were there for at first. They were obviously demonstrating with its use of the garden, weren't they? That's what they were for. I mean, I felt inclined to support. Did anybody else?
I didn't look at this, I'm afraid.
I just thought it was a bit of a technical argument. I think, as Tom said,
You've seen
the
this,
Kirklees.
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion, I'm not for it or against it, it's a bit, very limited information that what we actually have. I'm not against it, it's not for it.
I reckon we should support. If we're not sure, we're neither for nor against, let's support the people who live
I
here.
don't even know what the application's for though, especially when they convert in the barn. Because at the moment it's a horse, it was designed for horses and they keep the cars in it. But it doesn't actually say what they're trying to do with it though, you know, what it's going to be changed to. It's very limited, what
I
you actually can see.
understand they were just regularising the situation because it was the existing, yeah.
So the existing situation is built for horses, but we're not keeping horses in there, we're keeping cars in there. And I just think that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They've had planning permission for something for equestrian, haven't they? And they're now
Yeah,
saying,
I'm saying it's,
we want it,
yeah.
they now want it to become domestic.
well, it might be somebody else who's done that before.
So
and
there's
they
another
bought it.
stage.
And Tom is right, I think next year they'll probably have an outline application for 4 houses.
That's
Well,
why
at that
it's
point, we can say no.
Yeah.
We cannot refuse things on the grounds of what somebody
Yeah.
might do. That's not a planning objection.
Right, we've obviously got a slight difference of opinion here, so let's go to defer to Kirklees officer, shall we?
Yeah.
Please, yeah, thanks. Number 13 is car house, we've already done that. Number 14, another certificate of lawfulness. Small extension, St Mary's Avenue, Netherthorne, any, Isaac, any?
I'm just saying, just if this is the certificate of what do you call it, lawfulness. I'm just saying, defer to good levels.
I think it falls under the
Yeah, support, I've been inclined to support. You support this one? Yeah, thank you. Support that one. Another phone again, St Mary's.
What number have we got to?
Number 15.
Yeah.
Number 15, yeah, St Mary's Way, Netherthorne. It's a 3-bed going up to a 4-bed, dormer extension alterations. The left-hand side dormer is very, very big. It's, yeah. Did anybody have a look at this one?
I had a look at it, and
Yeah.
as you've said, I thought the dormer was very big, it's quite imposing, isn't it? A bit of a question mark about parking, I'm not
Yeah.
sure whether there's enough parking
Yeah.
there for 4 there.
Yeah.
So those two
Yeah.
questions really.
I wasn't very clean on the grey UPVC clothing.
No.
That sounds horrible, but I'm quite sure.
I sort of look around the rest of them, I can't see anyone else that's done anything since, so it would very much stand out.
Does that matter?
What was that?
I'm not here to judge beauty.
No,
No, we're not here to judge you. We're not here to judge beauty. But
I suppose is it all the bearing, is it too big?
Yeah.
Is a question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think it is?
I think,
Borderline.
yes.
Well, I put support, but I'm happy to defer to Caitlin what is the
I sat on the fence.
Yeah. So we sit on the fence and defer to Caitlin.
Oh, it's raining, I can hear. I keep
Yeah.
thinking, what's the noise? I'm in here often enough to know perfectly well that it's raining.
Okay, number 16 is Short Lane Home Fair, the rear balcony, a new, it's a large park, it's a large car lot, already had a large extension, I was just inclined to support this one, I think it's unproblematic. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, support, thank you. 16, 17 is Home Fair. Little Bank Road, carport over existing retaining wall, Sedum roof, but no, climate, I haven't found a climate statement, did you find?
No, but then it's only a roof.
It's only a roof,
Yeah.
yes.
It's
Yes,
all
I
car
think
park.
in view of the sort of the lack of major works, the lack of a climate change statement really was,
I thought it was fairly
Yeah,
harmless.
yeah, I
happy,
mean,
do you welcome this, can we, yeah, I mean support, can we welcome Sedum,
Yeah.
welcome at least
Yeah.
Sedum roof, thank you.
I just felt sorry that when I went to see it, that there was a squash mould in the road, which I thought was a bit sad.
Oh.
But there you go.
Mind you, they do a lot of damage. They're not like badgers, are they, or hedgehogs, where you think, oh, what a shame. When it's a no, you think, oh, good.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
I think they look cute. They look cute, but they wreck.
yeah, they do.
They are serious wreckers.
Right, number 18, which is Thorns Bridge. Okay.
Oh, yeah, again, I support this, it's quite, it's neither here nor there really.
That's what I thought.
Approve.
Let us support.
Approve.
Support.
The one lesson you would learn if you watched all of our videos would be the duller the idea, the more likely it is to get through.
Right, now the next one I thought was really interesting. It's yours, is it, Tom? It's just, it's in the green belt. Now,
Is this the pergola we're
This is
talking
not
about?
my idea of a pergola, not a perspex shed with a hot tub in it. That, to me, that does not constitute a pergola.
Oh, right. So it looks, I had a look at the plans earlier and I thought the builder up there in the middle of nowhere pretty much would be
That's why you need,
alright.
that's why you need.
But
Give it a name and if you look it up, you can find that name and you can see what it looks like.
like you
It's
said,
It's perspex.
Is anybody else going to see it?
I think this is a technical argument, isn't it? Because if they call it a pergola, I think they can have it. If they call it a veranda, they can't.
no, right. And glazed panels, so
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to how the planning.
I think it's back to the officers, isn't it?
Yeah. The climate change statement was really good at getting a lot in this one, so. Shall
Well,
we-
how do you he can't possibly justify a hot tub on climate grounds, can he? There can't be a justification
Well,
on climate
I found that
grounds.
I quite enjoy reading them sometimes because you know,
They find
the
them-
initiative and the way they twist, you know, and twist words around and they're, you know, very creative, shall we say, in some of the
well, it's
responses on
it's
there.
got glazed panels all around it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not a pergola.
It's not
That's
pergola,
just
it's
something
just an old
you
wooden
grow, and
structure.
you
No,
grow,
wood or metal.
Yeah, like with like framework around it,
grow
isn't it?
vines.
Is this got a solid roof on it as well? I think it doesn't, doesn't it?
Pergolas can have roofs,
It looks more
not
like
just
a,
fretwork.
it looks more like a bit, like a, I don't know, like a garage which
It's
has
a
got per se.
perspex shed with a hot tub inside
Let's give it, let the officers
it. Yes,
Yeah.
we,
shoot it down.
What would we refuse it on? Would refuse it on?
No, can we,
Yeah, we don't
can
know,
we
then.
defer it to Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see how.
I've delivered, I'm sure most of you have been delivering leaflets recently. I went to one house somewhere in Meltham, I think, where they had their hot tub outside the front window next to the front door.
So exposing.
Each to their own fact.
Right, number 20.
You didn't have to get in it.
Actually, it'd be quite fun to get in there and wait with a leaflet till they come home. Find where you switch it on, get it nice and warm, and wait for them to come home and collect their leaflet.
I mean, just referring back to the last one, it's in Greenbelt really, so I think it really is a question.
Right.
Yeah,
Is it in Greenbelt?
it is in Greenbelt, yeah.
Right,
I
we
looked
should-
it up. Yeah.
Well, would we refuse it then? Why not just refuse it?
Well, we wouldn't refuse a pergola.
No, but like we refuse building in Greenbelt except for exceptional circumstances.
It's
And the Perspex pergola, if that's even a thing for a hot tub. I don't think that qualifies as exceptional circumstances, does it
It
really?
may not be permanent, they may have
Well,
chosen
yeah.
perspex because it could be immediately removed and they could make the argument that it's not a permanent
It's
structure.
technical.
I think we need to be consistent if it's about Greenbelt, but don't we? Like it's, well, that's a fair argument. It might not be permanent. It might be one of these things that it's there. That which makes it even worse if it's just all plastic.
It's gonna, I assume it looks hideous, but whether that's an argument.
I would be happy to refuse this, I mean, it's, oh no, I've got,
Refuse it then. I think we should refuse it then.
do you refuse it?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
let's
an appropriate
refuse it.
development for Greenbelt.
I'll put refuse it and.
I mean, I've got a bit of a thing against hot tubs at the best of times, so.
I don't think that's on the ground.
Inappropriate development in the green belt. Right.
I thought greenbelt objections were just if you were increasing footprint and things. It's not like conservation area, is it? Greenbelt doesn't mean it has to fit in, it means you can't spread. I don't think we can object because it's in a green belt.
Well, yes,
No,
yes,
but
we
it's
can,
true.
it's inappropriate
It's,
development.
it's
in-
increasing the footprint.
It's a structure, isn't it?
It
Ah,
depends how it's treated as the building, doesn't it, really, because if.
I think they're trying to get around.
Yeah.
the rules
Yes.
by
Yeah,
calling it a
it's
code.
right.
Well, we must have to get one. We're getting planning permission for it. It shows like it's a building, isn't it? It's not like it's a temporary
But
thing.
you
Or
would have to have planning permission for a pergola.
Well, exactly. That's what I felt.
Sorry, that's,
Well, you're just going to a garden centre and buy it, lift it up and take it home.
let's keep moving. Number 20,
I
which is
think we should support it.
South Lane.
Oh, sorry, I thought we were on to 21.
No, 20, I would support this. This is a
Yeah.
garage, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
round behind the house. I know where this is.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
It's actually improves it, guys.
Yeah, it did. So support, do you have
Yeah.
with that one? Yeah. Support, and then 20.
I think 21 is pretty ordinary.
I should look into this one, to be honest.
Yeah, they've taken pre-op advice, which of course we haven't seen. But
I should look to see how the parking arrangements would work. This is right alongside the railway, isn't it? They're
Yes.
driving, but
it's
it's which
and it's their relationship with the next house is complicated.
it's a great touristic building next to it. It's a bit of a messy one, I thought.
Well, look, this,
I thought it was fine.
I was.
Because Gin Lane is such a muddle, it's, you know, just because there's a grade 2 listing next, it's got everything from 19th century to the worst of 1960s through to, you know, it's got everything in Gin
I
Lane.
wonder whether the railways might have something to say about it.
Well, they can say it.
I think there's something in the Fairfields notes about that railways may wish to comment.
I wasn't trying to support it, I don't know.
I've got it, I think we should support it, if the railways object, they can object, but we
I have
do.
no real
Okay.
problem, I think I'd like to get some clarification on parking.
Okay, support,
Okay,
yeah, okay, support, but seek clarification on that, we're happy with now suggesting that it falls within permitted development rights. With the refusal of the previous, because the previous application was refused, and it was a very comprehensive refusal, including quite a lot about the impact on the massing and the structure. This new version has reduced it to one story from 2 stories. I don't know if people have had a chance to look at this.
I had a look some time ago when it came.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, despite these sort of arguments against it, I think it does, from what I can see, fall within the permitted development. So I'm not sure we can do anything about it. And I assume that's why Kirklees didn't ask us to comment on it.
We requested for last time some comments from them as to why we haven't been sent certificates of almost in some cases we do. I don't think we got a new explanation as to why we get sent some and we don't get sent others. I still don't really understand it myself. But that was the line. But last time I did look at this, which was only a couple of days ago, it was still open. There was no end date or sort of projected date on it. So I think someone just wasn't around the department before they decided it might still yet any hours. It's possible that you know the end date is projected on it, but they might still be thinking about what to do with it.
I mean,
It's a very busy estate, isn't it? And parking is really extreme. When you look at the bigger picture, you really don't want any local development at all. But if it falls within the permitted development, you do it.
I mean, the new proposals are some way from the boundary line. I think the previous one was actually on the boundary line. But I understand the problems of the neighbours were about manoeuvring past. It doesn't say, because it's not a forthcoming application, it doesn't say how far it is from the boundary, but it does say that the downspouts and the grates and so on will now be on the applicant's land. Ideas about what we do about this, whether we take it any further or not. If it's permitted development rights, it's a legal matter, isn't it?
It's Kirklees officers, isn't it? It's not really one for us.
Yeah.
It's a common application and we can. We can the comments, but in development, we can't comment on it, can we? It's not our remit.
It's just a case of whether it's something that makes it obviously not permitted. So if it was too big or what I can see, that they're being careful to make sure it falls within the SPD. So I don't think.
Yeah, whether they come back in a year or so and then put in another application, and just sort of slowly creep it to get back to pretty much what they wanted in the first place. And it's a development that's really got not a lot of space anyway.
It's very tight, isn't it?
It's really tight, you know.
I mean, we can get a decision not to do anything, which I think seems to be the way that we're moving, but we decide to take no further action at this point.
And whether Kirklees should consider in any future applications of developments of that sort, where they remove permitted development rights as part of the planning application and make an Article 4 direction, which Kirklees is yet to do for anything. But Article 4 is the only way you can go about it. And that would then give them some control of what people wish to do with house extension.
I mean, there's certainly another house further around that has been doing something like this. That's probably a bigger one. So they've had planning restriction. But if everyone did that,
Yeah, it's, you wouldn't want to,
And the opposing argument to that was you've approved it for them, how can you turn us down?
yeah.
Is this more a planning theory issue rather than something that we can really do much about?
I think in the first instance, you would expect Kirklees officers to go through this with a fine tooth comb and make sure that it does actually fit within community development. Because if it doesn't, then you can reject it, can't you?
Yeah.
But from my amateur look at the SPD, it seems to me as though it fits within it.
It looks as if it's within the development
Is this-
rights, so there's not a lot we can do.
Is it just one of the estates? Is it up in Upperfarm or is it?
Yeah.
It's not one of the ones where the minibus goes around, is it? Or
No, don't think so.
no, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, it's about 50 minutes from my house.
Oh,
I'm just thinking
So I
that.
don't really know.
Yeah.
Are you a pretending
Yeah.
interest?
No, I don't know them, it's far enough away for it
Far enough
to
away.
not make a difference.
So I'm just thinking that there is some estates around there. I went round when I was in my trip around on the minibus, and I was really tight and really difficult around that area. So I can imagine what it's like.
It does go further down that road, so it does come through, and when sometimes the one of the roads gets blocked, and it does come up to past my house, but it goes the other way because theirs is the dead end, theirs is the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Shall we, I'm suggesting that we take a decision to take no further action at this point, and if it may come back to us as a.
That's kind of well, yeah, nothing they can do.
No, there's no point.
I think we've got to preempt any future applications for developments. Maybe we have to preempt and suggest that Kirklees go for Article 4 dimensions to remove permitted development rights.
Yeah, let's do
And
that.
communication.
I mean, they used up and down the country, except Kirklees has never used one as far as I'm aware. I know they tried in the past, but they weren't too keen on it.
I think we're sitting on the brink of a great relaxation in planning rules, however.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the problem.
Mm. I mean, that might be something to take up, but I think possibly not with relation to this particular.
With this one, I think
we just decide.
I think we have to ignore what's going on here and just accept that it's going to work.
Accept it.
It's going to happen.
There's nothing more we can do with objective.
Yeah, it is, as Pat said earlier, it's very difficult when other people have already done it.
Yeah.
Then go
Yeah.
back to the rest of them and say, well, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, the first three were lucky, the rest of you are not. Doesn't
Right.
work out.
Okay, so I think we've decided that we've taken a good discussion on this. We'll take no further action
Yeah.
because there doesn't seem to be anything really that we could achieve by taking any action. Moving on to Kirklees Council Planning Officer's decisions. Can we note the decisions? No. Right. Item 70, neighbourhood planning, etc. So the first item, the development plan, action plan progress. I have made a start on looking at the parish council actions. This is quite a large task, and I'm not going to be able to finish it for the next meeting either. So I'm suggesting that we perhaps put it on the agenda for the meeting after that. It's going to be September, isn't it? So
Where did the year go?
Yeah. Where did the year go? Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah. But it's the same. It's
Winter already. You did winter already.
But it's the little bit I've done is the same as when I did it last time. We are moving forward. We sometimes think we're not, and there's no coherence here, but actually we are. We are actually making. We are making progress even.
And thank you for your work on it, Mary.
This time. It's tedious because I have to go back through minutes, so that's why it takes forever. Right. Second item under this heading of purchase and placement of additional state. Oh, you're brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
We have, Kirklees have confirmed that they have received delivery of the second device. First one is out in circulation, second one should be out in circulation sometime next week or so.
Any chance it'll be near Holly School?
Yes.
Just in time for the
Any chance they'll let us know what day we can go and take a picture? And let the kids know at the school?
The discussion that I've been copied into on emails is that Station Road will be the first location they're just working out which outlet she's going to look at. So she can go.
Can we get in touch with the school and tell them that we believe it's going to be Berkeley New Station?
Yeah, and if they can let us know which time that will be.
Yeah, they can let us know.
Yeah, for this camera, I know we've talked about in the high school, and that's potentially 2 locations, and one up and one down.
Yeah.
But there are 8 locations, and I guess we're ought to be talking to the Port Valley North Council about
Yes.
where we want those.
The email chain that I was on included North Councillors and their suggestions as to what to do. So
I was thinking the other 6, we can influence those, can't we?
Yes, we may not be able to specify, but
No.
we can certainly, we can certainly influence.
I think we should try and get a photograph of the SID with those young ambassadors who came and presented to us and get it on our website and, or, you know, publicise them as well as the SID. Because they campaigned for it and they've got it.
Yeah.
It could be to do with the article that
Yeah.
I sent you them photos and videos, you put them on the Facebook page. Well, it'd be good to do something like with it all together about what we're doing, because we're seeing some fruition from what we've been working on for the last year or so. It's really good.
But also, you know, that young people can galvanise things to happen.
Yeah, young people can take action, can make stuff happen, can affect government. This is the first tier of government that they've got something done. No, I think a whole article congratulating them would be lovely on the website.
The one the suit that we had, which was just outside where I live on Hanford Road.
Yeah.
That's moved up to Sheffield Road now, that one. It's not there anymore. I know it's at Sheffield Road. Just past where,
Just past,
near House Terrace.
yeah.
So the terrace just past where the red line is, just going down the hill there towards into New Mill. So do you know where the red line is, Andy?
Yeah.
You could be coming down towards New Mill, it's like that old big terrace on the left hand side. And then just past there is like
Is that one of the places we nominated?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it was actually.
I might know the hours you see that.
No, but I think the other ones that start at high school by then for high school. So ours was originally put there. It's a bit. I must admit, it's a bit random where it is, but it is. Well, it is a bit of a roadway that people can go quite fast, and it's getting towards quite a sharp corner.
It's close to that, oh, is it Bernard's, there's a children's nursery school and the junction up to Butterley.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds as though we've achieved something in that they're prioritising schools and nurseries and
I
things,
just
which is
want to
good.
pick up on Andy's point, which was about a list of locations in
Yeah.
Horn Valley North and how best we should do this. So, I mean, I certainly don't know what would be good locations there. I wonder what, perhaps an email to all the people, councillors, Horn Valley North Council, asking them to nominate. Well, anybody, well, perhaps to all and the rest of the valley.
I do think the Horn Valley South one as well, like I say, it's been one side of New Mill and now it's on the other side of New Mill.
Yeah.
So a lot of the valley's not seen it or it's not been around. So it might be worth us maybe think about places where it's going to go to next, like maybe
Well, we
Hayden's.
I think we've got a list, haven't we?
We have,
Yeah.
we've still got two
Yeah.
locations to nominate for that one.
It's done good so far. Like I say, it's making a difference and it's out there. People are seeing it. So
I was contacted by somebody who put a suggestion in of Woodhead Road for a location, but I think that was already
Yes,
on the
yes.
list, wasn't it? So I think that's
Yeah. I think Hayden sounds quite a good idea to me, Tom, because there's been all that expenditure on the traffic calming measures and so on. Let's stick a machine in and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's aggravated, of course, by the quarry lorries.
No, there's obviously other there.
In your dreams.
We're from the bank account,
It's still
forest.
It's still cruising.
Sorry, just going back to clarifying, I think I was very clear. Just going back to nominating locations for the second one in Honley and Honley North. I mean, anybody, any councillors might have a view on that, mightn't they? So perhaps an email to all councillors.
Can we have some data back about the first sighting of SIN1 in New Mill as well? Because like it's been moved now to a different site. So do they have the data from the original sighting and what we got out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must be entitled to that
Yeah.
information, given that we paid for the thing.
Just to be accountable, to make sure that like we are putting these things in the right places,
Yeah.
and just so we're getting something back out of it as
And
well.
that they're worth our spending our money
Yeah.
on. We're entitled to see what effect they have.
It has been promised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been
It has been promised.
it's
The
been a few
discussion
weeks.
that Andy
So
I had with Moses Cook, it was promised that we would have the data.
good. Yes, please.
Just to also say that we're still not in North either.
Okay, fair enough, yes.
I have taken us.
Thank you. That's it funny, isn't it? Okay, so that's, yeah, it's brilliant, excellent news. It's not actually done something that's really good. Moving on to traffic calming. the Kinney Act, it's you again.
Yes, I had a delivery note today about Rockall's one. I don't know whether that means they've shipped it today or whether it's been received today, but they should be there, if not today, then at some point this week.
Are they going to directly to school?
They've gone directly to the
Good.
school to contact at the school, so and they are accepting them. So that should be great. If anybody passing Rockall School or Upperdown School and spots one, would like to take a picture of that. It's another one that I'd like to do use off to contact. So
Yeah, it's
just
a
driving
nice-
past them when I
Yeah.
can't stop. Which is not helpful.
Great, yeah. Thank you. Thanks for all this following and those things that seem straightforward and don't always tend to be answered, do they? Okay, so the moving on, the number 4 there we've already discussed. Moving on to item 71, Peak District National Park Forestry. It's gone very quiet.
It's gone silent in the Peak District. Yeah.
It's gone silent.
Maybe people have been turned down so many times they've given up on even applying. Either they're just building it without permission or they've given up on having an extension.
Well, one's been rejected.
One's
hasn't
been
it?
rejected, yes. Yeah, the decision was which we supported because we thought the window's exactly the same on as double glazing and it's been turned down, so yeah.
Personally, I think they're overly strict and people in home now just don't bother, they just do what they want because they're not going to get to them. So it's almost defeats your intent, and
It's strange.
So that
Different planning authorities have completely divergent views on double glazing.
Yeah.
And there's no national guidance at all.
I think they take a very hard line on people's children. Certainly.
You have to stay cold. You have to stay cold and not be
Yeah.
wasteful of energy.
You walk this
Always,
old house, you
yes, so-
suffer.
Yeah, and the climate suffers too.
Yeah.
Some of them went into real fireplaces and
The world suffers.
Come on,
Stick
we're not
on
living
us,
in a
we-
What's that to do with anything? Why does that matter?
listed building.
So what's an internal?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, that's a bit different.
Can we move on to, so that's item 3, or been disagreed with this, item 4 there, a new system for reporting planning breaches, so can we note that? It's quite interesting, and I reported a lot great to Councillor Crook, and in his response to me, he said it's very useful to have the what 3 words. Yeah, the what 3 words located.
For things like
For
grapes,
things like
yes, it would
grapes,
be,
yeah. So if we're ever reporting anything, let's make sure we use the 3 words, location. Well, I'm not sure it said that in the guidance, the reporting that, because I couldn't get, without filling in the form, I couldn't get any further, which I didn't do, I couldn't get any further than page 1, so I'm not sure. Okay, shall we move on to item 72, it's a highways campaign. Right, ongoing campaigns, anything to report, and any of them, there was 1, 2,
Rising Road,
4.
when they come with this burst of communicating again, particularly fish and birds.
I didn't hear you.
Sorry, Will Acorn, who's been dealing with
Yeah.
this TRO on Ramsden Road, is a bit hit and miss with this communications. You go weeks and weeks and nothing happens, and then you get a flurry of 2 or 3. We're in a flurry at the moment. What I was saying was that I didn't believe that completing the consultation. Certainly my neighbour lives inside of the barriers that they've put up, and if they lock those barriers, he's going to be locked in his house. And therefore, I would have thought they would have been consulting with him. But he says he doesn't live inside the barriers, and they believe they've done all the consultation that they need to do. Likewise, they say, despite having said they would consult with us as the parish council, they've now decided they're not going to consult with us. So, I don't know where we go from there. I'm afraid it will pear shaped. I think someone will object to this and it will back to the drawing board again. We shall see.
I think,
Okay.
are we getting to a point where these things perhaps should come off the agenda?
Well, certainly my neighbour feels very strongly about this one. He's not going to be getting any dustbin, posts, deliveries. How's he getting out of his house? He's going to be in a gated road.
But I don't think there's anything we can do about that.
I mean, I shall continue to keep chasing it up.
Yeah, I mean individually as councillors we can obviously help people who are in positions like that, but as a planning committee, I don't think there's anything we can do about it, is there?
I'm interested in it, and the updates that we are getting, things are changing, so I think I retain an interest, and I think for people who are on the committee, I think we should keep it on the agenda, even if it's just a
Right.
5-minute piece and not much to update on. So stuff is in motion, isn't it? Hopefully, so hopefully things will be happening, but it's just very, very slow.
Gemma was waiting to speak.
I had 2 things to mention. One is that we've received a TTRO for South Lane, which is temporary closure, which we think is going to be a repair, we think, which will happen in middle of August. So potentially that one might be resolved.
And again, Councillor Brooke asked me to fetch this up because obviously he's not here tonight, but the resident there is quite uptight about this because he's in dispute with Kirklees about that wall. And he says neither he nor his solicitors heard anything about it. And yet there's a TTRO going on seemingly for the repair of it. So it seems a bit strange.
That's what it appears to be. The description of it is too
I wonder
fixed.
if we could ask for clarification. Maybe it's not the same thing, who knows? But it
I
appears as
think
though.
you can zoom in on one network and get a much more accurate picture of it. So
They describe it as a burden wall.
yeah, they do. Clarify the location of that one.
Clearly, I can be something for the chapel ones that join the roads. Quite uptight about it.
I think with these issues, I think they should be taken up with the Kirklees councils as well. I think that's the way, because they will get a response, and as we know, the parish council doesn't always get a response.
Could we ask one of the Nick, one of the South councillors for some clarification?
Yes.
Maybe it's all quite innocent. Maybe this is another repair. It's nothing to do with that.
The other one I was going to mention was Road, not specifically been deferred. It was supposed to go to cabinet, I think, not cabinet, and.
It was at the planning.
Oh, it was.
But it didn't
Do you know
go
when
ahead.
it was approved? We've not had decision notice on it, I don't think. I've not seen one. So that house comes through next time, that's it. I don't think.
Had you know?
No.
We've got quite a lot of writing. You've reported on all of it.
It was just those
Yeah.
two, an update on Housing Road and as I say, South Lane.
I mean, I think there is an issue because we have certain powers as a parish council and Kirklees has other powers, and I think we've spent a lot of energy and time and of councillors and the clerking team chasing things sometimes, and it's not, and probably a quicker way is to go via the Kirklees councillors because they do get a response quickly rather than trying to take it up ourselves. I think we should,
concentrate our efforts on what we can affect and
our
stop.
own powers, the things that we can do that we're not doing, and that there are some of those. But I mean, that's the big discussion probably from council meeting. Thank you. Let's move on to planning policy and guidance. So, Gemma, sorry, you're ready. Yeah, sorry. Let's go. Right, thank you. So this is the heritage.
So this was the letter that your junior councillors wrote to respond on re-app advice, sorry, very nice.
Yeah.
Re-app advice, and also to say that I have responded to Mr Franklin to accept the offer of a meeting with the heritage team in September, but haven't had any dates.
Okay, thanks. Design guide. Steve, have you, thanks for sending us all.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with it. Well, there was one thing where I thought I'm not sure, but I don't know whether I'm pleased or not pleased. It's very prescriptive.
Yes.
Here is what you will do. We've decided what looks good, and you will do what we say.
Well, that was the point of it.
But we have no claim to good taste. I'm sorry, I don't accept our superior knowledge here. I just
No, I
don't.
don't think it's ours, is it? It's
And,
people's.
and things like your shop signs you should have lettering that's unobtrusive. Well, the whole point is that people
Well, I
should be
think-
able to see them.
Well, now, when we, unobtrusive, yeah, there are shop signs, I mean, you just have to, some are glaringly, you kind of think.
And there are the one thing that you will hit legal snags with, and they will, where they say, it's suggested that corporate design should be amended to be, the lawyers won't let them. The lawyers won't allow a millimetre difference because you lose your trademark.
Oh no, that's not true. Because McDonald's, when they first came to Edinburgh, they were the red banner and Edinburgh City Council said on your bike, we don't have red, that colour. And they kind of went, that's our corporate colour. No, this is Edinburgh. And they thought, we're McDonald's. And they said, sorry, we trump you. And since then, McDonald's has changed.
All right.
They now have green on a lot of their signs. Because Edinburgh said, we'll take green.
Well, they may have come up with another, I mean, it may take time. They may have come up with another corporate design that's been trademarked and the lawyers have crawled all over. And
I mean, there are difficulties where you hit corporate stuff, but they are, you can negotiate your way around them.
right.
I mean, I know we did this in Huddersfield with, I think it was Burger King. And they wanted to do something and they had to amend it. Begrudgingly.
But it would have to go to their head office and
Oh,
their
probably,
lawyer.
yes, I where it went after we told them to,
Yeah.
it was not acceptable. But you can, these corporations are amenable because they want a presence. I mean, Home First is, if we just take Home First, and I suppose Homley to a certain extent, you don't have many major corporations. The co-op's probably the only one.
Co-op's it, really, I
Yeah.
think, yeah.
The banks.
Yeah, we've got some down the bottom where it's not pretty anyway. We've got Screwfix and people, but
Yeah.
that's down
But
there
that's-
in an industrial estate.
Yeah, you're not
so-
worrying about that.
Yeah.
But within the two high streets that we've got, there probably isn't a problem.
No.
You know, we're fortunate that there isn't the number of.
All the banks are
The
closed.
banks and buildings.
All the places that might have been a problem have closed, and they're charity shops.
All
So that's all
all
fine.
Wetherspoons in some places.
Yeah. Actually, Wetherspoons have fabulous buildings. They've got all the nice buildings in every city.
Right, this is a jolly interesting.
But anyway, we'll go back to the editing team and say, can we look at unobtrusive?
Yeah, because the whole point of putting a name over your shop is that people notice it.
Yeah, I will go back to and sort of. Let's
I'm
think
not
of a new word.
suggesting it has to be lime green and flashing
No.
on and off.
But we have made decisions about, there's one on the Waverley Building in Homley that we made a massive thing. Anyway, Steve, are you going to report on progress?
Well, I mean, until the committee was happy with the general wording, we're looking at, we're going to employ a company, and we're looking at two at the moment, is my understanding, and asking them to come up with costs and whatever, and the costs will be borne by the conservation group. And then we will come up with rough designs and bring them back to this committee, because although it's being done by the conservation group, it will be the parish council's document.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I spent my life selling designs to people and whatnot. Get to the one you like and bring it here.
Yeah, oh no,
Do
we're not going
not-
to bring you, no, we'll decide which we like.
Yes. Don't even think
No.
about bringing several.
No, we will decide on one, and then we'll bring it here, and it will have photographs incorporated into it, and sketch and design criteria and stuff.
And I think we need to think about what's the relation of this design guide to the whole first blueprint
Oh, yes.
as well. So
Yeah, we better find out what decisions have been made by Kirklees Council about
I mean, the other
signage
thing
and
that,
stuff, but that will have been considered, won't it?
the other thing, of course, is the conservation area, Firth Conservation Area Management Plan, which the blueprint just ignores because there isn't a management plan. Although English Heritage say there has to be a management plan. So I've had off the record discussions with officers of English Heritage, and they are, we're in public session, aren't we? But we can get informal advice from English Heritage as to how to go about producing a management plan, and they can then put pressure on Kirklees.
This is the English Heritage that listed those shit flats in Sheffield.
Not the same people.
There is an officer who's in complete use as part of that.
Sorry?
There is an officer who is
Part of that too.
He was part of
Well,
that.
it was listed because it was a beautiful example of terrible 60s architecture.
which flats are we talking about?
Those huge flats near the station,
Park.
were gigantic.
Oh,
And they were breaking, they were groundbreaking at the time. They were very, and they were built with room for the milk float to go through. They are hideous. They've nearly bankrupted the, who's that nice building company that do a
Urban
lot of
Splash
heritage stuff?
Urban Splash.
Sorry?
Urban Splash.
Urban Splash. They damn near bankrupted them and Sheffield City Council.
Right, this is very interesting. Can we move on? It's item 75, place standards, whatever, etc. Right. So, at the annual council meeting, I undertook to speak to Earl Crook, I did speak to him. I find it fantastic meeting more. and also Jane Riley was there as well, on the 26th of June. Mo and probably Jane are happy to come and talk to the Parish Council. I think it's particularly interested talking about the Holmfirth blueprint, which obviously includes the road scheme. So I'm hoping that you feel happy for us to take up that offer.
Yeah.
And I feel it could be extended to all councillors as well, because it's a wide unanimous. So are people happy for us to do that?
Yeah.
And then the other thing was that I think those people that live near the centre of Cromfirth, we have had a letter through our letterboxes from John. Do you recognise it? Jointly from Kurt. Anybody else get it? Jointly from Kurt Lees on the company that's doing the road scheme, they have appointed a public liaison officer, the firm that's doing the road scheme, called Matt Dukes, and I thought it might be helpful for him to come and talk to us as well. Go on.
I was at a meeting actually where he came, and a very amiable young man, quite prepared to change his company's guidelines on how the work goes ahead without referring upwards.
Oh, blimey, he won't last long.
But I mean, for instance, there was a slight problem beginning of last week when they put up temporary traffic lights, and there was a low loader unloading something or other, and so essentially from the traffic lights to Holmfirth Mills, one lane was taken out of action, and their building instructions are that pavements there will be sections of 50 metres at a time, traffic light dot, and he just said no, it's not going to be 50 metres, it's going to be 30, because 50 metres is far too long in a tight space like Holmfirth. And so that is his working instructions to all the gangs now working, that there will be one 30-metre section at a time, and that will be it. And he is available 5 days a week between 9 and 5, and quite happy to talk to them.
Where's his office? Is it with Reed?
No, it's I think it's in the council bit, isn't it?
No, I did read it somewhere and I've forgotten where it is, but he's got an office in the town centre somewhere, hasn't he?
It's
Yeah,
in the town
the old
centre.
council offices.
It's somewhere around the old council offices. But he's very amenable, and he will be quite happy to talk to, I would have thought, this committee.
I mean, you must have seen the traffic lights that's there now, which are creating chaos. I was talking to a lady in the library, and she was saying, we came to see this guy and said, look, can't you coordinate those traffic lights with the ones at the top of Victoria Street? And the response was, no, we can't do it.
No. I mean, why Kirklees didn't agree to put temporary lights along the whole of the junction is beyond me.
The
So
problem
a
with
lot
the
of
lights
local
is,
traders now, quite rightly saying it's creating chaos.
the problem with the lights is if like when I was there the other day, there was loads of extra cars that tried to get through, and then they get stuck in the jam
Yes.
at all.
And I was held up by.
And then that means they keep it at red, that bit there, going that way a bit longer because all the cars are here. So you can't really, it's impossible to try and coordinate it together. You can't do it.
No.
Unless you do what Steve says, where you just close the whole bit for the start of it, and then, which would make more sense.
I just think the local traders are worried that this is the very
But I
start
think
of it, it's going wrong.
The fact of the matter is, whatever they do and however well they do it, it's going to be chaos in the centre of Holmfirth for 6 months or more. So
So
this
this
is,
chaos, but there's going to be disruption.
There's going to be
Yeah.
disruption, and we're going to, I think
and the traders need to kind of grin and bear it, because if they want the centre improved, it's a higgledy-piggledy narrow place.
yes, I mean, it's a one street town with one
Yes.
river crossing, and
Tom.
I went to Perth on Saturday morning. I went to the art week thing to Hayden, I went to the double from art week. And like, it was absolutely rammed in Cranbrook car park. Almost a lot of people were going to Hartley, you know, because it was really hard to get a parking space in about 10 minutes. And anyway, we had a walk around afterwards, and yeah, like, there was a bit of extra traffic around, and I can imagine, we didn't walk all the way to the other end of the lights, the far side, but I can imagine there's going to be some disruption. But it's only that part of it there, and it's always really busy and jammed up anyway, like all the time, during the peak times anyway. So to be honest, I didn't notice a huge amount of difference. And when I've come from the other way, where you come from like New Mill down into Dunfermline, you just go around the Hollow Gate, around that way, there wasn't much of a disruption or problems at that side of things when I've noticed.
Oh, okay, it's fine.
So it's like the other side, if you're coming from like your side of Home Bridge way, or if you're coming back from the other side, you might be a bit knackered. But it's not as bad, it's not that bad.
No.
It's not that bad.
I think day one was the first, the bad day, because people were just not used
Do
to
you
it.
feel it would be useful to have him, like, to Dukes to come and?
Yeah.
Well, let's meet him.
I think
We might be able to help him.
the more, yes, and the more we inform ourselves, because it is good, I think it's going to kind of build up, isn't it?
So,
Yeah,
It would be
yeah.
nice to have some sort of timetable in it that says,
yes.
these roadworks.
Even though we know it'll take much longer and cost much more.
But you know, you should be able to plan it, surely, a
Yeah.
few weeks in
Mm.
advance,
Yeah.
but at least let people know.
And then retailers could be told,
Yeah.
you know, this bit's going to be difficult. Then
That's
this bit will
You
be
can plan for it, can't you, and things.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not very clear at the moment, that plan must exist, but
Yeah.
I've not seen that level of detail.
So that we decided to have to, I think there need to be separate meetings, I don't,
Yeah.
not,
No.
we need the time, don't we, to do it, so one with more about the blueprint, the second one with Matt Dukes, specifically about the road scheme. Okay, are you happy to,
Yeah.
happy to deal with that?
I think with Matthew,
I think it needs separate, it needs to be separate.
I think, and it should be during the day for Matthew, shouldn't it, rather than during his working hours.
And maybe we can even do it through Zoom or something like that, because if it's, if it's in person, I suppose it's not that bad for Matt, if he's working.
He's only got to walk along the street.
And other people, I probably won't be able to get to it, but other people will be able to do it, so it's, yeah, I don't have to be there.
I think we inquire about the availability first, don't we, and then.
Yeah.
Well, if he offers to come in the evening, all well and good, but I don't think we should kind of.
But it looks like council meetings are going to get English heritage, the English heritage people can speak to us as well. We've got a lot of meetings coming up with groups. So if someone
We're all going to have to miss some of them, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. If someone happen during the day and some happen on a Monday night.
Yeah, between us we can.
Yeah.
record them.
Yeah.
We can record them.
You said this. I did not say this.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So you don't know anything. Examine that.
The examiner's not what it needs to be.
No.
Okay, let's move on to the Crickleys local plan review. I mean, this could be a very large piece of work for us, and I think it's important that we engage in this process. So the 2019 plan, it's been agreed that it's really no longer fit for purpose, really, because obviously things have moved on a lot since. Well, obviously it was being drafted before then, so it's a full review of it, and I think we ought to be part of that. There's the current call for sites is still out. Sorry, Pat, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, one is, I think we maybe should set up a working group to look at it, but the other is, maybe we should wait till till after the King's speech at least, because it might all be theoretical.
I still think we'll need to do a local plan. But
Yeah, but we don't know what they're going to relax or not relax that can go
no, well, we
into
won't be
it.
able to do it.
We don't, and they're going to increase the number of houses they want built. I mean, I would put money on that. So that will change. That will change which land has to be made available and stuff.
If I just finish what I was going to say, is
Sorry.
that I was approached by Margaret Dale, and so it seems, well, I guess, and her suggestion was that we should establish a kind of wide-ranging steering group, including, as a whole long list of organisations, including the business, or I've got a list here, including the business community. Which the business group seems to be pretty good, doesn't it? In Home Affairs now.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yes, it's
new one.
functioning well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and Homley, it isn't
so
just
she was-
Home
it's-
First.
so the question, yeah, no, it isn't just Home Affairs. So the question, so the suggestion was it would be huge. So yeah, the Home Valley Vision, River Home Connections, Ruckles Village Trust, Home First Business Together, the high schools,
Homley
Parish
Village
Council,
Trust.
Homley Village Trust. There'd be a long list. So it's, I suppose the question is, would it be, I'm not suggesting we answer this tonight, and I think possibly we do need to set up a working group to look at this and see what's involved. Whether we kind of go it alone and make our own statement, or whether we try and provide possibly some kind of leadership, or at least participation in a wider steering group. Okay, right. Tom and then Pat.
So, what's happened with the review? Has the documentation come back to us, or is it still ongoing? Once it's still ongoing, is there anything we can actually do about it? Or do we need to wait?
We would make a submission. We'd make possibly a fairly lengthy submission, saying what it is that we want, what's wrong with the existing plan.
But aren't they going to tell? Isn't that dependent on what they're going to tell us? What's wrong with it? I don't know. I don't understand.
Well, I expect the consultation period is over, so they're wanting input from
Before they make their
before
own.
they draft.
I just don't know what they expect from us. I don't
They
understand.
want, they want the ideas they haven't had.
Yes, and like that.
This is touch of
Yeah.
cynicism.
What is the goal? What is the objective? How many houses do they need? How many businesses do they need? What do they?
Well, I think
That's
what,
right. I think we need to
And
wait
it
for the
isn't just-
new
it isn't
government
just- It is
guidance.
not just about the number of, it isn't just about the number of houses, it's why, I suppose, if we decide that we're gonna have a working group from this
Yeah.
committee, then whoever's on that group needs to get themselves up to speed with the existing local plan and what the consultation is and what's going on. Sorry, Pat, you were
Well, I think we need our own working group. There may well be this big one and
Yeah.
we can be represented on that, but it sounds very big and cumbersome to me. That we need our own working group, and getting ourselves up to speed with the current one is a good thing to do, whatever, but I think there is little point until we know what the new government is going to say in terms of planning and housing in making representations.
But we can at least just say what it is that what we want, and that we could probably use the neighbourhood plan, kind of lift ideas and issues out of the neighbourhood plan. I mean, this is going to be a big. If we take it seriously, this is going to be a
It's
big piece of work. Steve and then Andy. Thanks.
I mean, certain things have changed since the neighbourhood plan first came out. I mean, if you just think of the 616, is practically ignored the existence of it going up to Flange in the neighbourhood, the local plan 2019. You may as well, if you look at it, you will kind of think, well, there's no road there, and yet the traffic on it,
It's a busy road, yeah.
you know, when 628 is closed down, 616 is a lifeline. But Kirklees essentially ignored it. And I think we've got to persuade them that that is a major artery. They ignore the existence of the 628, whereas they should be, I know it's outside Kirklees as an area, but the 628 affects Kirklees and affects this part of Kirklees in particular. You know, if it functions well, Home First okay. If it functions badly, and you've got the M62 on one of its internal close downs, Holmfirth is a pain in the neck because everything snarls up. And I think that sort of aspect from the local plan just doesn't exist because they didn't have that information. Or if they did, they ignored it. So, you know, things like that, I think we need to stress that there are parts of Holmfirth is an important hub. You know, it might be less important than Chain Bar and Cooper Bridge. But from our point of view, being totally selfish, Holmfirth Centre has to function.
And it's important and needs attention because it's such a snarl and insoluble narrowness, unlike
Sorry,
you.
I'm just being patient with waiting. Do say this, please.
I think fundamentally the current plan doesn't have enough land in it, is there, for the volume of houses that's required. And as Pat was saying, it's probably going to go up as well. So I think all the areas, ourselves included, are going to be under pressure to release of land that maybe we don't want to. And I think that's where the friction's going to be. But I don't understand now they're going to arrive at deciding where these tranches of land are going to come from. They're asking at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah,
Please,
yes,
please
that's
volunteer some land.
yes.
In reality, who's going to do that? It might be, and quite rightly you said with the new government, there may be saying some of what is currently green belt will become
Or at least the mixed.
grey belts and colonies, aren't they?
Mm.
And I guess this is where we will have some influence, where we can sort of say, yes, that one makes sense, that one doesn't.
No, it's also possible. It's also possible that the government thinks everything is as it is in a city and hasn't given a single thought to rural expansion of houses. But we will wait to see.
So, so it's a big piece of, but it's also not, it is, as Andy's just said, you know, it's an opportunity for us perhaps to have some kind of influence, or at least to attempt to have some kind of influence.
We should have our say.
We should have our say,
yeah.
So, I guess we could have volunteers to be on this.
Can I suggest we do stages? I mean, I think you were absolutely right several minutes ago when you said the first task is to be up to speed with the existing plan. And maybe we could divide it up and each of us take a chunk to become expert at and feed, and which would make it a less onerous task, wouldn't it?
We could probably do that the first meet with the group. I think the first thing is to decide who's the group and who's going to convene it. So it's been one of the problems with working groups recently is that they've been set up, but then nobody's been allocated to actually convene the thing, and they've kind of drifted, as has happened with biodiversity, right? So who would be interested? Who would like to run that? Yeah,
So I'd be interested.
And I'll happy to convene it then.
Well, you can kick off, but you don't have to do it forever.
I don't do it forever, but no, it's just about calling the first meeting, really, isn't it?
Getting it going,
Getting it going.
I'm a bit concerned about Margaret's idea.
Sorry?
I'm a bit concerned
Yes,
about
you will
Margaret's
have to be,
idea. Because it's going to be a clash with different communities, you know.
Right. So it's a bit.
Sorry, hang on.
So I'm just saying, I'm a bit more concerned with Margaret's idea of having this massive gathering because it's going to be a clash because certain areas are not the same in the Home Valley, if you get what I'm saying, and also the business associations, they've got different ideas how.
I think it's one where we should have a representative, but kind of avoid it.
Well, I mean, we do talk a lot about working in partnership, and here's an example. Here's an opportunity where we can do it working partnership.
I mean,
but maybe not be responsible for it.
But I think we could also interview to make sure it represents beyond Home First, because left to Margaret Dale it won't.
Yes.
I think different groups all have different views about different things. Our point of view is kind of like to represent constituents and the people and the businesses as best as we can. So kind of doing kind of like putting something together what we think is best, where they can do things what is best for their groups. And we can kind of maybe skim over some of the things they have and other things they do without getting too overly involved within the meetings.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of this, we are statutory consultants
Mhm.
on planning,
Yes, yes.
where none of these other
Yeah.
groups
Yeah.
are.
No,
So,
no. But
I'm not saying they're going
yeah.
to say,
but,
it's us that the plans come to when
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah.
But they may make good points which we may choose to include with our plans.
We
But,
should
like,
attend and
they
listen.
might put some stuff in there we don't agree with as well.
they have, and we know they have expertise,
Yeah.
which we don't. We're very lucky to have Steve expertise. But yeah, they are collectively, yeah, a lot of expertise there. Okay, so I think that's probably as much as we can say about that tonight. Right, I'll just mention, and I think it perhaps needs to go on with the next agenda, sorry, which is again, Margaret Dale's got got a suggestion about the Create Streets, which has come up before, and some of you know about this. And what's he called? Nicholas Boy Smith, who's a kind of national leader. So I just think if we put it on the agenda for the August meeting, and I'll just put a few words together about it. So, right. I think that'll do for that. Moving on. Representation of Kirklees Public Rights of Way Forum. I spoke to Chris Greenworks at the last one, and he reported back by me, and he is happy to continue to attend. If unless somebody else wants to attend.
I thought we decided this at the full council meeting.
Yes, I thought
I
we
don't think
sort
it was on the list, was it not?
I thought we had already
Yeah.
sort of cemented it in place.
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
can
yeah.
get out.
But
Well,
whatever might decide on last night,
It was me originally,
And then
we
it Chris
stopped having them.
Yeah.
And then they started again when I couldn't attend and Chris went in my place. And then I'm sure at one of the meetings. we
Yeah.
said, why don't you continue, Chris? I said, "Yeah."
We did.
Well volunteered, Chris.
Yeah, we did. It was a meeting. Yeah, I remember it. We laughed about it.
But I think it was, sorry Tom, I think it wasn't on that, that list of external appointments. I think that Jen told me it wasn't on that list of external appointments, because we thought it was
Must have been at one
it
time,
must have
because
been at
that's how
one
I got
time,
on it.
yeah. Tom, sorry.
Yeah, propose that Chris is
Thank you.
If full council didn't do it, we will.
Get out of that
There's
one.
some good local stuff in his last report, wasn't there? Okay, moving on, committee smartly. Committee budget, can we note? Can we note the contents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we just note those
Noted.
and thank, yeah. I thank the deputy clerk. We are very lucky in this committee because we don't have a very complicated budget.
Yes, it's much easier than any of the others,
Yeah. Right, display equipment, the exhibition room.
So last time we met, I was asked to look into the possibility of display equipment for the exhibition room, mainly for this committee, but also for bodies with other committees and full council as well.
No doubt Rich will have spreadsheets up there
Oh,
for F&M.
imagine the size.
If we do this, then it'll all
And he'll have done what if scenarios they'll be changing before. If we did that, boom.
So, I've looked into a few different options, but I haven't provided any that exact quote because I kind of want to get general directions from you. And there's a couple of things to think about it as well, in addition to this. So options would be big TV, and a 65-inch screen would be. about the same size as me. So that would be about the size of a report. It's roughly
Do
four.
not forget, do it for the camera.
That's how big I am.
You're
65
saying
inches.
bonus mode.
I am 65 inches tall, so 65 inches arm span. That's how big we are. Roughly £400 or £500. You would connect via either a HTML cable or a dongle. Options would be to really secure it to the wall. I'm a little bit conscious that we can't secure that room. So you can buy trolleys that would even support a TV that big, and they're about £100 or £200.
And we wheel it into your office.
You'd be looking at about £700-ish, and it would have to be stored in the office. It's not the most secure either, if I'm honest. So that's option one.
So you go, I'll speak.
Option two would be fancy smartboard, the more expensive option. Generally, they come from 56 inches. So 86 inches, which is longer than my arm. So from 1,500 to 3,000. These are the boards that you get in primary schools, which are touchscreen as well as interactive. And again, you'd plug in your laptop, or you would use a Wi-Fi dongle. So 1,500 to 3,000 would be for a smartboard. Again, slight concern about having a piece of equipment that is that expensive in the exhibition room. Option three is a projector. Now, allegedly, somewhere in the exhibition room there is a projector. So we might already have one of those. It's a bit old.
It probably holds slides
and
and has a carousel.
Possibly not quite that old, but it does exist. Apparently it's quite noisy, but what I'm going to suggest maybe is that I try and find it for next time we try it out and see how that works.
But that
We
can
have
just be
also
screwed
got
to the ceiling.
We have also got a screen. If it works, then potentially we could get a better one and screw it to the ceiling, and that's going to be much more difficult to finish. And they are only, well, you can pay crazy money for a cinema projector, £6,000, but most of them are like
We used to have a projector, that's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When I was more back at the old council offices, and we used to use it in planning because sometimes, but back in the day when I first started, we had all the plans in paper. And then some people decided that they wanted to see the plans on the screen. So we used to do it every so often, but everyone's much better now at looking at them and seeing them on the phones or on the software. Back then people weren't as good.
People didn't read the papers before the meeting.
So we did have a projector, but it must be pretty old tech now. We're talking like 10
I
odd
don't
years
know if
ago.
it's the same one. Apparently there was one during sort of Zoom era
Alright.
where everybody tried to use it, which is but apparently it exists
I
somewhere.
don't know.
Yeah.
Mind you, we wouldn't have seen it.
I think but my thoughts are on the smart boards. They're expensive, and one way that I love is a bit rubbish. I don't really like it, and you don't use half the stuff for it.
And most of us haven't got the skill.
I'm considering we might need it for one meeting in 10.
Yeah.
It's not needed to be something that expensive, and like the TV option doesn't sound very good. So I was going to suggest the projector option with the screen as well, because it's much smaller to transport around. It's mobile. We can move it here for if we needed it, and you don't even need a screen sometimes. You can just use a blank wall if you've got one. So I don't know what.
On a certain app where young people are on, TikTok, there is TikTok Shop, which there is good deals for projectors.
All right.
Yeah, Amazon as well. You can see, I'll look at Amazon.
You can get a small one which projects.
You can get it for like reasonable ones for like 100, 200 quid. So I'm not getting one just somebody's outside in the garden with someone.
What, project a picture of the sun?
The sun.
The other thing for expensive is replacing the bulbs, which you need replacing after so many hours, but the cheap.
Shall
I
we?
think
I have one more point to
Yeah.
make, was other than the security issue, the other thing that we need to think about is who's going to operate it, because I won't be able to put plans on the screen and take pictures.
So we'll have to train, when we buy it, we'll have to train a couple of people.
But you don't need it very often. It's like
No,
really
I'm
rare
just
that you need it.
wondering how often, particularly if we're going to look again at the way we we do with planning applications, we might need it even less frequent.
But it could be useful for some, I can imagine somewhere we haven't fathomed out the plans.
I'm tempted to see what we've got already, because we use it that rare. And most of us, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of us have got laptops here today, to do things on the screen, and Mary's got a tablet, I've got a phone, you've got a tablet. Is it really needed? It's a bit.
I think beyond, outside of the planning, and we were joking, we talked about Rich putting his spreadsheets up, but it would be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand stuff like
Just
that.
planning, is it?
No,
Yeah.
it's just planning, that's true.
Stuff like that, I can understand it, yeah.
Shall we leave it there for now, and then, because obviously Gemma's got a bit more.
Encourage Gemma to rifle through the
Exploring,
basement to try and find it.
I'll see if I can get.
Blow the cobwebs off the existing. I'm amazed to discover we have one in the Zoom era. I have no recollection at all of it.
We had one before the Zoom era.
No,
Yes, we were actually.
apparently Rich has said to Gemma that there's a more recent one during the Zoom era. We were all there.
Okay, last item 79, publicising the work, I think we've decided,
SIDS.
more or less decided,
Yeah.
SIDS and kiddie bollards.
Yeah.
Since I've been out this week, there's new stories going out on Facebook website, and I probably going to put it in as a submission for the next parent meeting.
On the Facebook page?
I haven't shared it anywhere, but feel free to share it. It's just on our parish council.
Okay, I think we're done, I think we just come in at 9 o'clock. It's amazing how we have fewer planning applications, but we still managed to go on to that. We did have some hefty stuff tonight, so thank you everybody.
Yeah.
Well, Bryn has sent me the instructions for looking up, so. He texted them to me rather than